Behind every bit of mom wisdom is a story of a real mom and real kids just trying to love each other well. Whether you're cozied up on the couch with a mug of coffee, pulling out of car line and heading to work, or out for a walk, you're welcome to join us as we share stories and laugh, learn, and grow together. It's the I'm On Podcast. Welcome to this week's episode of the I'm On Podcast. I'm Abby with Susan and Megan and Chloe, the final episode of 2022. Girls, we did it. We did it. 8 months of the I'm On Podcast.
Oh, that long.
Yeah. Seems short. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening and for sticking with us. If you are new to the I'm On Podcast, we have a lot of great episodes that came out back in April, May, June. So scroll back and check them out. We think you'll like them. This is the last episode of the year, and so everyone's thinking about New Year's resolutions. Do you guys think about resolutions like now in late December, or do you wait until January 1st, by the way?
I just don't do resolutions at all.
New Year's, same me.
Yeah. I'm kind of a last minute, like maybe on the 31st, I'm like, maybe I should consider something.
And I have goals all the time, so I don't think of that as a New Year thing. I like goals.
Right. But goal setting for yourself, your family as a whole, or for your kids, it's not something that should just be left for January. So today's episode is It's Goal Time.
Oh.
And it's Chloe's story.
Oh, yes.
I cannot think of a better topic and a better person than Chloe.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Yes. So if you are into the Enneagram, I am a type 3. And if you don't know what that means, it just means that I'm very goal oriented, and setting and achieving goals has been one of the greatest highs of my life. It's just embarrassing to say, but it is true. I just think about that a lot, and I enjoy it a lot. But growing up, my dad was really good at fostering the love of setting goals. And I remember just at the start of every school year, he would come into my room and we would write out, 3 goals for the year, and we would plan out what it would look like for me to accomplish those goals. And then when I got a little bit older, like into high school, we would do 5-year goals, 10-year goals. And it was really cool because actually the other day, I found one of my old journals from when I was 17, and I'm 27 now. So as a 17-year-old, I wrote out 3 10-year goals.
And gosh, did you hit them?
Yes.
Oh, that's so cool.
So yeah, the 3 goals were I wanted to play 4 years of college soccer. I wanted to marry a godly man, and I wanted to go to Africa. So
You wanted to be a redhead. That was goal number 4. And you're like, done.
I accomplished it. Thank God.
Wait, what about blonde or brunette?
Yeah. Goals everywhere. No, but it was really cool because when I was 17, I just, looking at one of them specifically, the 4 years of college soccer, I had a really tough 4 years. I had injuries. I had 5 different coaches in 4 years. I went to 2 different schools, and I ended up getting to play 4 years of college soccer. So when I was 17, I must have been verbally committed to my first school at that point. But it was really, I didn't know what was ahead, but it was tough to play 4 years. And I wanted to quit a couple of times during those 4 years. But it was really exciting as a 27-year-old to look at those goals and just think about just the ways I got to, look back on those accomplishments. And of course, I called my dad and was so happy and thanked him so much for just investing in me that way. Mm-hmm. And really, like I said, fostering that love of goal setting for me. But one thing I've learned as an adult is not everyone shares my enthusiasm for goal setting. And one of those people is my husband.
Really?
Because, yes, and last January, I bombarded him over brunch. I tried to bully him into setting goals with me. And I asked him, okay, what are your 3 relational goals, your 3 spiritual goals, your 3 professional goals? Like, he was like, you're making this so not fun for me.
Chloe, you are my husband, and I am
sure.
Trent, because I'm like my husband always wants to set goals and mark them off, and I'm like, what? I don't wanna.
Yeah.
I still
Yes.
stresses me out.
Yeah.
And it's not like Trent doesn't have goals. He very much does, but I've just had to learn how to collaborate with him on how he wants to set his goals.
That's interesting because so Chloe told me this story already, and my response was similar to yours, Megan. And my husband and I went to brunch one day. Gosh. I don't know, maybe we were at the same place. Maybe there's something in the air or in those eggs that day.
Yeah.
Because we went to brunch with the intention of setting goals. And I thought they were goals for like our married life together, maybe.
Yeah.
I can't even remember what it started as. But then he's like, well, then when it comes to work, we could. I'm like, whoa, whoa. We were focused on just this. And it's not that I love setting goals too, but I was getting kind of overwhelmed. Like I needed, and I think I need them to be set in a way that I know I can accomplish them. You know, I like to set goals that feel doable for me because I don't want to set myself up for failure. And so it was like too much, too fast.
Yeah.
And I think I said the same line. I'm like, you're making this not fun.
Yeah.
Like you've zapped the joy out of this goal setting for me.
Oh my gosh. Yes. So in thinking about that and the way Trent responded, I'm trying to be more sensitive about the way I approach goals with other people. And I do want to teach my future kids to practice goal setting just like my dad taught me. And I'm wondering, what could that look like for kids? Like, how can you encourage goal setting in a way that makes sense for kids and also teaches them, you know, kind of like what we discussed in previous episodes, patience, hard work, those character qualities. How can we teach that to our kids through goal setting?
Yeah. I think that one big thing that your dad said that I don't think you phrased it this way, but you said to me in our previous conversation is that he had you write down 3 things I'll be grateful for in 5 years. So he was setting you up. And maybe the character trait there is optimism, or because he was setting you up to succeed.
Yeah.
It wasn't just 3 things that I want to happen in 5 years. It was in 5 years, I'm going to be grateful that this is happening or that this has happened.
Yeah.
I think that attitude is just a really big part of goal setting in general.
Well, and I'll tell you one thing in relation to that. My dad still, I just went over and celebrated his 64th birthday, and he had something that he had written down, I think it was 10 years ago, and he said, in 10 years I'll be grateful for my future son-in-law and things like that. And, I've married Trent since then. But I stumbled upon a picture of my friend and I from a year ago. And we were both hoping and praying for something in our lives. She wanted a child.
What did you want?
I wanted Trent to pass his test. His work. He has some, what do you call that? Like professional
Licensing.
Yeah, licensings that he's trying to work for. And
I just want to make sure that Chloe's not pregnant.
No.
She works with me.
Yeah, no. Mine was
can't leave me. Megan was already out of maternity leave.
Mine was a work thing. She wanted to get pregnant.
We need to set like a little bell that every time Susan mentions people that are not allowed to go on maternity leave, it like dings.
Yeah, this is Susan at Family First saying, do not have kids. You cannot have kids this year.
The only reason I was able to is because it directly benefited her.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, true.
I love you too, Chloe.
I know. Yeah. So then I stumbled upon the pictures from a year ago, and she got pregnant like literally a month after we went out to lunch that day. And we spent the whole lunch talking about those 2 things. And I sent her the picture because she's since had her child. And I said, gosh, like, remember this last year? And I got so sad for a second because I'm still waiting for that thing that I wanted a year ago. But because my dad taught me that, I literally texted, I said, this time next year, I'm going to be thankful for that. Like I still had that a little bit of, because I'm not going to lie, like I'm not a very optimistic person. I tend to go more negative, and I'm just thankful. I think it's a learned character quality that my dad has helped me, to work on even when it's hard.
Okay, so I just typed this up for one of my kids. I didn't get it from me. It was from a book I was reading. I wish I could remember the book, but I read a lot, so I can't remember. But I just pulled this up because I just gave this to one of my kids. The person said, to really become motivated to succeed, people need to believe they can win. This is a process that takes time. And I think when you're teaching kids that's why we have the You Can Do It. I think we have a 10-day, a 25-day.
10, 25, 50, and 100.
Because little kids, if they learn, okay, you can do it. You can do this every day. Like whether you're teaching them, don't call your sibling names for 5 days, you know, to check it off and learn, I can do something in 5 days, builds this confidence in them that they can do greater things.
Yeah.
They can do bigger things. Like you didn't get your thing, but you have the confidence to know it's going to happen. It's a process that takes time sometimes.
Yeah, and just the way I view that thing that we're still waiting for has changed so much in the year. You learn so much when you're in the waiting season.
Because it's God's timing.
Yes. Yep.
Gosh, I feel like we're back in the patience episode.
Yeah.
We are, aren't we?
No, but I mean, I think that goals require patience and perseverance. So there's all those character traits that are leading into
And
achieving
hope,
goals.
because
Hope,
if it, you get discouraged when somebody's setting goals for you, or you, and you just look at them and you go, oh, this is good. This is why I printed this for one of my kids. She's trying to do something that's really hard. And I was like, you can do it. It just takes that consistent diligence and patience and hard work. But it is hard when you're looking at them. And I think that's the other thing about you guys talking about, like you were trying to make goals with Trent.
Yeah.
You have to be somewhat self-motivated, because if somebody else makes goals for you, it feels like pressure to me. I love making my own goals. I don't love it when somebody sits down and makes goals for me.
Like, be kind to us non-goal setters. We don't want to handle this.
And I think that's what makes goal setting with kids a little bit difficult. You want to offer suggestions, but you don't want to say, you really should set a goal to go for a run every day, because then they're going to be like, why, Mom, do I need to set a goal to go? Right. So it's like you have to be able to lead, but not suggest in a way that's going to make them feel like they're doing something wrong or that they're not enough.
I love objective ways of breaking up goals, body, mind, and spirit. Like, okay, can you come up with some? One for your health, one for, your growing, your learning, one for your spiritual, and let them have at it.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's ever too early to start teaching them how to make SMART goals, like, what is it? Specific and measurable, or specific, measurable, attainable, time sensitive, what's the R? Realistic and time sensitive, right?
I think so.
Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound are the SMART goals. And so as soon as you teach, the sooner you can teach your kids that that's the way to actually achieve a realistic goal, I think that's just something in their back pocket.
Start them small so they can win and they can taste that success. It's so motivating.
So I have one child who would print every printable on our website if he could, and set every goal and do every chart. And then one kid who could not care less about it. And it's not that he's not motivated to do anything. It's just they're two different personality types. So when you have a child who is not into charts and stars and that doesn't work for them, like, what are some ideas for that child to motivate that child?
Yeah, I find in my kids, the really artistic children are not motivated by hearts and stars. Stars and stickers.
Yep.
They're just not. It's all a feeling for them. They have to be moved by passion. So it is a little bit more of a struggle.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, and I find he is motivated by time with me, but I don't want to make time with me
a reward.
Yeah. So it's like that odd, that strange place to be in where.
Yeah. So is it finding what motivates them? Because I don't have a child. I have a husband. So this is what I'm going to go really off of. Because Trent, with the goal that we had.
You need to print him that you can't do a sticker chart.
No, it wouldn't motivate him. It would motivate me, though. The goal that we have, he hasn't reached that specific goal, but he's accomplished all this stuff in relation to it. So where I tend to get caught up in my own goals of like, well, I didn't reach that one thing, I'm blinded by other successes that have come on the way. Yeah. But he is observant to, well, this hasn't happened, but all these other things have. And I love that side of his personality too. So I guess what motivates him in that way is the like, well, what have we discovered along the ride?
Journey.
Yeah,
He's
the journey.
into the journey.
Yes.
You're into crossing the finish
destination.
line.
Yes, like let's get there.
Yeah. So what about goals for moms? Not just talking about New Year's resolutions, we can get to that. But, as a mom, goals that you can set for yourself when it comes to parenting. We have 3 different articles on imom.com. 5 goals for moms of toddlers, 5 goals for moms of elementary kids, and 5 goals for moms of teens. And they're all about a relationship. So, Megan, I'm going to put this one on you. These are 5 5-year goals for moms of toddlers. So by the time James is 8, these are 5 things that imom.com writer Abby Watts said you should.
Ooh, she's setting goals for you, Megan. How do you feel?
I know. I'm scared at the pressure. I can't even. I crack under pressure.
No, I would
do
bet,
it.
Megan.
Give him to Hampton. I'll do it.
I love it. I'll have them done by the time James is 4.
I would bet that you could probably already check off 3 of these 5, if not all 5. Are
That's
you
being
ready?
generous, but thank you.
Goal number 1 is to learn your mom personality. Check. You've done the Mom I Am personality test.
There you go.
Number 2, pray for your child daily.
Yes.
Number 3, discover your purpose in parenting. I know that Susan can speak on that. Do you think that you're on your way to that?
That's a really pie in the sky general one for me. So I'd be curious to hear.
Your purpose in parenting is to bring your child to be an adult and to release them. That's your goal. That you've got really more than 18 years to mold this child, to train them up so that when they leave from underneath you and are accountable to God and the world, that they are going to be able to be used by the Lord. Mm-hmm. That's your only goal.
No pressure. Well, they should really make you do this before you decide to have kids. I'm just kidding.
And just love them.
When you decide what your purpose in parenting is, so maybe not everybody agrees with you, Susan, but whatever you decide your purpose is, then going forward, you're like, why am I setting this role? Why am I sending my child to this school or that school? Why am I? It's the answer to all of your whys and helps you direct all of your choices. Whether you want your child to be a future leader, a child who loves to serve, a child who stands for the truth, identifying your purpose is that rudder then that directs all of your steps and your decisions. All right, another one, Megan, another goal for you. Here you go, is to instill a love of reading in your kids. Is James getting good at that?
He does. He does love to read books, if only to procrastinate and prolong not going to bed.
That's the best time to teach him to read.
You take it. Why are bedtime stories so popular, right? And then the last goal for a mom of toddlers is to love the phase you're in, or focus on loving the phase you're in. How are you doing on that one?
That is one thing I actually feel like I have done a really good job of, because there is at least one moment a day with one of my kids that something happens and I'm like, I want to remember this forever. This is, even if it's just Beck smiling or giggling for the first time, I'm just like, this is so sweet. I want to remember this phase forever. And it makes me sad because I know when I'm older, I'm going to think about these memories and I'm going to be like, I just wish they were that little again.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to give you the moms of elementary kids. You guys jump in if any of these speak to you. So 5 goals for moms of elementary age kids. Discover your child's personality type. And that can be whatever type of anything you want to do. It doesn't have to be a specific type of system. Create a family mission statement. Have a go-to method to calm yourself down. I'm working on that one. Spend as much time on emotional intelligence as actual intelligence. Actual intelligence, you know what I mean? As book smarts. And then adopt a growth mindset vocabulary for your kids.
What?
A growth mindset vocabulary. So as in... instead of saying I can't, you're like, you say I can't do it yet. I can't write in cursive. Well, not yet. You can't write in cursive yet.
Those are much more specific, the elementary ones, than the toddler ones.
Well, kids are more difficult in elementary school than in toddler. Okay, and then one more with the moms of teens. No teens yet for me, so it's coming. 5 goals for moms of teens. Invest in your own friendships. Ooh. Invest in their friendships. Make a must-do list. So this is kind of like your bucket list with your teenager. Make yourself available and then come up with your big picture question, which is kind of like your purpose in parenting. But, your question might be, am I helping her grow into a person of character? Does my child know that I love and value him? Because this is going to be your lighthouse through these stormy years. Yes. And the thing that you leave them with, that's going to be the thing that your swan song. Yeah. Yeah. So, as you're thinking about goals for the year, if you're a goal setter, if you do New Year's resolutions, getting your budget on track is great. Getting your diet on track is great. But there are so many more important goals that we need to be setting when it comes to parenting, at least, I think.
Yeah, I'd say, to me, it always goes back to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and love your neighbors yourself. And your greatest neighbor is your immediate family. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So if you're not good at that, then you're kind of missing out on the second greatest commandment. So at the very top of the goal list has to be, just taking a pulse on your relationships in your house.
Yeah. Do you guys want to talk about resolutions? Do you guys do them? Do you make New Year's resolutions? Kind of different from goals, right?
I don't do them. Do you?
No, I don't.
I know Megan.
I don't either. None of us.
I feel like I do kind of more monthly check-ins. I do a rebrand whenever I color my hair.
Rebrand. The Chloe rebrand. Chloe just had a rebrand, everybody.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Watch out.
I'm still discovering.
She's Ariel Mermaid. She's all kinds of
Chloe
things right
has
now.
been a
All with
blonde,
red
a
hair.
brunette, and a redhead all in the... How many years have I known you, Chloe?
Well, she got married as a blonde.
Yeah. My husband's been married to all three of those. Yeah.
Which one do you feel most like yourself?
I feel most like myself as a brunette because that's my natural hair color. I am still figuring out who I am as a redhead. Megan, we might need to have a branding meeting.
You can put it out on my calendar.
Well, there's different. I don't really do resolutions either. I don't like setting myself up for failure, and I feel like it's just too much pressure to come up with something that if you don't stick with it for the whole year, are you failing?
Okay, so I do a habit tracker. Every month, I write down these things. I change them up slightly all the time, but I follow kind of the body, mind, spirit thing. I have a spiritual section, I have a health section, and I have a relational section and a God section. Actually, I have 4 sections. Okay, so they'll change from month to month, but I always have a certain number that I can attain a grade. There's usually 14 or 15 things on there, maybe not that many. Anyway, I grade myself every day, and I fail a lot of the days, but to me, it's just not a big deal. I don't look at it as like I failed. I'm just like, oh, darn, I failed because I haven't worked out in 4 days, or I haven't, called a friend, phoned a friend. And that's in the relational section. So I look at it as more like just keeping a pulse on myself, keeping balance. So I don't look at goals as like I'm afraid I'm not going to hit them and get discouraged. I look at it like as a day thing, every day. So if I have 3 Ds in a row, I'm like, shoot, I need to take some time to get an A tomorrow.
Yeah. So we have a few different options, ideas for people who don't like their traditional resolution idea. And one of them is kind of like what you're saying, Susan. Mini goals. There's mini goals and there's micro resolutions. And mini goals are things like you set something that's so small that there's no way you can't accomplish
like your water wars.
Yeah.
You do water wars. That's an easy one.
Yep. You just drink a little bit of water every day. Yep. Or give your kids and your husband a 10-second hug every day. Or stretch in the morning. I read a book where she says, I wanted to start doing yoga. I wanted to stretch. So I told myself, every morning you wake up, do 1 downward dog. That's it. Nothing else. Just 1 downward dog. And she said, eventually I got to the point where I was doing it for 5 minutes, and that made a difference in my day. If you make these micro resolutions, eat 1 more vegetable a day, it can help, kind of snowball into bigger things.
Well, I think it was Simon Sinek who said, he goes, where we go wrong is we stop doing something for more than 2 days. He goes, you can skip a day, you can skip 2 days. If you skip more than 3 days, it's so hard to come back.
Yeah, I could see that. The other option is the micro resolutions. And Megan, I talked to you about this last year in January, and I remember you saying, I want to do that next year. So you have a few days left. Clearly, it made a big difference to you because you can't even remember. I can tell by the look on your face, you can't even remember what this is.
Gosh, I swear I have short-term memory or long-term memory loss. And
You had a baby.
So the idea is to choose, and this was a trend like a few years ago, choose 12 micro resolutions. And so you do this one thing for a month, and then you move on to another thing the next month.
That's like our character calendar. It's like a character calendar.
Well, and I do remember you telling me specifically like did you and Davis do some together?
We did.
Like that? That's what I remember. Yeah,
sure, we did. We tried.
How many did you get through?
I think we made it up to May.
That's good.
But you had some good ideas. What were your ideas? I'm trying to remember.
So what we did, I have other ideas now because there's an article coming out on iMom next month. We did body, mind, spirit, and so we rotated month to month. We did something like. We did meditating for 1 month. We read a book together another month. What else did we do? we did a Bible study together one month. So it's like we rotated from one thing that would benefit body to mind to spirit. Like I said, we got through 4 or 5 months, but it was something.
I'm going to try to do this with Trent.
Good luck.
No,
I have ideas for you.
Not that kind of guy. You got to do it yourself and make it look really
Chloe,
fun, and he might come do it with
that's
you.
a good idea. Yeah, I'm having
Chloe, this
so
is
much
what's
fun.
so funny that like I'd be curious to talk to Trent about is so like I remember when Hampton and I first started dating, I went to visit him in Nashville, and in his apartment he had hanging this like his list of goals, and it was broken out by like physical, mental, spiritual, like different categories, and I was just like, wow, for like a 20-something-year-old, like that is just so mature, and I just so respect that about him, and I love that about him. But I'm laughing because I'm like, I don't want to do that for myself, but I'm attracted to it.
This is great for
so I don't
you.
know.
Which is so funny because I love that kind of stuff, and you and I are so much alike. Where did I go wrong?
That's why I need to talk to Trent. I need to ask him like, what is it that attracts us to it, but we don't want to do it.
Exactly.
Another idea that I had for micro resolutions, and I feel like I'm onto something here. So, do you guys do the word of the year? I know we did it as a staff. So
yes.
in January, you go, all right, what's your word? What's your intention for the year? You pick that word and you look forward. How often do we ever in December look back and go, how did I do with that word this year? Because I rarely do, right? Meanwhile, I have my word from like 4 years in a row somewhere around my desk. But what if a micro resolution idea, so you have your 12 months, what if you make the word that you pick in January your micro resolution theme for the 12 months? So like I know a few moms who have chosen the word peace as their word of the year. So then your resolutions for every month could be something that
Gives you peace. Or
so
builds peace, yeah.
set your alarm 15 minutes early so you have time to pray in the morning, or some silence in the morning, or turn off screens after 6 o'clock, or I'm not going to say don't yell at the kids, but something having to do with lessening the amount that you yell at the kids, or lighting something as simple as lighting a candle every evening at 6 o'clock to just bring some peace into your space. So your resolutions this year, every month, your micro resolutions could be something that supports that word that you feel passionate about carrying through your life.
I like that.
I think this, like the character calendar that we talked about, teaching our kids character, the hard thing is as moms and women, so I'm feeling the pain point of the moms probably listening, is that keeping these things is so hard because we're so busy. Moms are so busy. So many of us work now, take care of children, like we have these crazy holidays we have to keep up with. We've talked about these things on all the podcasts. It's hard to keep it all going. And that's probably the hardest part, I think, about goals.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because I think that another option for goal setting could be making a drop list instead of a resolution. You know, decide what in your life needs to be let go of. Right. You know, maybe it is an extracurricular activity. Maybe it is grocery shopping every week and you need to cut back to every other week somehow, or, whatever it is. Maybe it's doing laundry every day and you need to go to doing laundry once a week.
I just had to do this. I've been so tired and doing a lot of work on the weekends, and I had to drop this women's group I was in that talked about public policy and things like that. It was great. It was interesting. I loved it. But I just can't ever get there.
Yeah.
I travel and I felt so guilty. And I finally thought, I just need to call her and tell her, instead of dealing with this guilt, saying, I'm out of town again and I can't go.
Yeah.
Just give it up.
That's good.
It's not my season.
Yep. We have so many great ideas about goal setting for yourself, for your kids, for the new year. We have great printables like our habit trackers that will help you, either if you're a Megan and a Trent who does not want to set goals, or if you are a Susan or a Chloe who is like all about them. They're all going to be in the notes or in the show notes, so check them out and make sure you email us. Tell us how you set goals, how you succeed in the goals that you set, because we would love to hear about it. And thanks for listening, and Happy New Year. Thanks for listening to the iMom podcast. iMom is the motherhood program of the nonprofit organization Family First. Along with our fatherhood program, All Pro Dad, we exist to help you love your family well. Subscribe to our daily email, the iMom Minute, by going to imom.com/subscribe and get tons of great ideas, insight, and inspiration. The iMom podcast is hosted by me, Abby Watts, along with Susan Merrill, Megan Tigner, and Chloe Blumenthal.